Nissan. Maybe you own a Nissan or your friend own a Nissan, okay? But the thing is, this is a bad news. Nissan is fighting to survive right now because for some reason they are going down. They are not doing as good as they should be, and their future looks grim. This is a video from CNBC, and yeah, we have seen videos on different other brands, like how Chinese brands are doing good, and other type of like Toyota and Nissan, Toyota and the other Japanese brand, you can say. But this one is about Nissan, and let's see what's going on with them. Few years ago I heard some kind of a news about them that their owner, or their CEO, is doing some kind of fraud or money laundering. He got caught in that, and even that also took a big impact on Nissan, you can say. So I don't know, it's kind of something like that, or it's some other issue. But yeah, we're gonna see and find out in this video together.
Some reports have said that it's possible Japanese automaker Nissan has just about a year to survive.
Oh, just about a year to survive?
They have a lot of debt. They have dwindling profit.
It's going in debt, dude. Sheesh.
It's in cash.
Nissan is in panic mode, looking for somebody to save them.
Profits fell 90% in the first half of 2024 from
Wow.
the same period the year prior.
Wow.
To ensure its survival, it is seeking an anchor investor. Nissan is in talks to merge with Japanese rival Honda.
Didn't they already do that? I think maybe this video could be old, because this article is according to December 2024. But I heard a few weeks ago that this merge thing did happen, and also Honda, Toyota. I mean many, especially Nissan and Honda is doing their thing, connection. But I think so Toyota was doing something too.
A tie-up with Honda would be better than almost any other OEM that I can think of.
Really?
This is bigger than a merger between two companies.
That's really true, for real, because it's gonna help Nissan a lot. On top of that, I think so it's gonna help customers a lot too, because these two brands are killing it, especially Honda. They are good brands, good quality, and they're gonna merge together and I'm sure they're gonna make some crazy good vehicles, I think so.
That have to be Japanese. This is the end of an era, in a sense, where the Japanese find themselves under attack from an emergent and ascending Chinese auto industry.
Nissan's crisis is a dramatic reversal of the far healthier results seen at the end of the company's 2023 fiscal year. It has cut production, jobs, and executive salaries. Its
Wow.
problems aren't US specific.
Oh.
It's challenged in China, Europe, and emerging markets.
Huh.
Long overshadowed by Japan's leading names, it in recent years has suffered blow after blow. A longtime alliance with another automaker is strained. A once admired former CEO is an international fugitive. Once a leader in EVs, Nissan has been eclipsed.
So some of its electric vehicles that were pioneers got old and were not competitive enough, and then the Chinese arrive and change everything.
A new partnership
Chinese
with
are
another
really doing a
automaker,
lot.
even a Chinese one, might be its best shot.
These are desperate measures that demonstrate that they were not prepared for this new reality after pandemic and after the semiconductor shortage, which put the Chinese car makers almost at the top.
Okay, shifting gears, and why Nissan is in deep trouble.
While the global auto industry's total sales grew by 2% in the first half of 2024, Nissan's fell by 1.6%.
Oh damn.
The company blamed its drop in operating income on fewer sales, greater sales incentives, and inflation.
It's been struggling in the market. It's been struggling at home. It doesn't have the right product lineup. There are so many warning signs, so many red flags around Nissan.
Like larger Japanese rivals Toyota and Honda, Nissan is a global automaker.
Right.
The US is its largest market. Lately, China has yielded the biggest losses. In the first half of fiscal 2024, sales fell by more than 5%. From January to October of that year, that number was 10%. In October 2024, Nissan sold 61,170 units in China. In October 2017, it had sold 3 times that amount.
Oh,
But the
damn.
US has been a declining market for the company too. Sales of the Nissan brand fell by 34% over the course of the pandemic. Sales for Infiniti, Nissan's premium or luxury brand,
Yeah.
fell by more than 55%.
Yeah, I could tell that. I mean, if Infinity is kind of under Nissan, so if Nissan is not doing good, I'm sure Infinity would do worse, and that you can see on the charts.
That's the worst performance of any brand in the US.
Oh,
Part of
wow.
the problem is a product lineup that hasn't kept up with the times or is misaligned with the market.
Because they still have, in my opinion, product quality that's not as good as Honda or Toyota or Mazda or the Koreans. It doesn't have really innovative designs like we've come to expect from the Korean brands.
Right.
Now I would say
Kia.
Toyota is having some more innovative styling.
Oh, that Toyota.
And it doesn't have the dealer network in the US where there's a lot of loyalty and trust and love that exists
I
between
see.
dealers and Nissan corporate.
Nissan plans to discontinue its Titan full-size pickup in North America.
Oh, okay. I did not know that. That was the very popular pickup, dude, from Nissan, and they are not continuing it anymore.
Pickups are a huge market and tend to be
Right.
profitable.
Yeah.
A recent attempt at a comeback for Infiniti, a large SUV, was priced too high.
Oh,
They've got a product that came out that dealers were excited about
100,000?
at first, and then they feel like it's overpriced. There's a lot of products you can buy for 100,000. You can buy a range.
yeah, 100,000 for an SUV. Okay, I get it. I'm sure many other brands are doing that much too. But for an Infinity SUV for 100K? Hell nah, dude.
Over
Hell nah.
5,000. Or a Land Rover. You could buy, an Escalade. You can buy BMW. You can buy
Right.
Mercedes. There's a lot. And I don't think the Infinity brand.
Like they don't have that much recognition, or they don't got that much luxury name, or their name is not on top of the list in those SUVs, expensive SUVs. So I don't know what was the reason behind for them to make this kind of price, or this much price, or this high price. Like golly, like if you are buying BMW, you know, like, okay, it is a BMW, it's expensive brand, you can say, so it kind of makes sense. For a Nissan or kind of Infinity, it doesn't make sense to put their car as 100K, dude.
Stands in the consumer's mind at the same level as those brands.
This is hardly the first time Nissan has been in trouble. Its last brush led to an alliance with French maker Renault in 1998.
Oh, Renault,
to which
I know that.
smaller Japanese maker Mitsubishi was later added.
Ah.
The following revival largely took place under the leadership of former CEO Carlos Ghosn, a Lebanese Brazilian.
I think so. This guy did some kind of fishy stuff, some kind of corruption or something like that, which also made Nissan worse.
Brazilian outsider. Ghosn became something of a legend in Japan before a spectacular downfall that ended with him
See, Nissan Xbox Ghosn leaves Tokyo jail on 4.5 million bail. Damn, boy.
escaping house arrest in a musical equipment case.
Former Nissan chairman Carlos Ghosn had been under house arrest in Japan. Now, Ghosn is no longer under house arrest. He's landed in Lebanon.
Nissan was still reeling from this episode in the years leading up to the COVID-19 pandemic.
Nissan was struggling before the pandemic hit, that there was a lot of supply out there in the marketplace back then. If you look at the history of Nissan, it's always been the number 3 Japanese brand. Toyota, Honda, Nissan.
True.
Nissan's always been kind of the third, the Japanese stepchild in a way.
Renault would later reduce its stake in Nissan from 43% to 15%.
Yes, it's still an alliance. There are still
makes sense.
Partners, but as the word says, it's an alliance. So it's not a marriage. They are somehow together but separate. It worked under Carlos Ghosn because he was the only one who could make the Japanese French people work together, and probably it was also one of the reasons why he was sent out of the company, because he was trying to merge these companies.
The COVID years brought shortages, chips, raw materials, and of course, vehicles. Suddenly, every automaker was able to sell every vehicle it had for a strong price and a strong profit.
And then in the words of Warren Buffett, when the tide went out, you could see who was swimming naked.
In fiscal year 2023, Nissan sold 794,000 units in China. In its original 2024 forecast, the company estimated a 3% decline, but it revised its forecast down another 10%.
Oh, more.
And the outlook for every region is more pessimistic than its previous. Though it foresees improvement in North America, it is still a downward revision from its earlier target and not enough to offset losses elsewhere.
While automakers were raking in cash in some markets, conditions in the world's largest were turning against them. Virtually every car maker faces an onslaught of highly competitive Chinese cars. 63% of the vehicles sold in China are made by domestic companies, a 27% increase since 2020.
Okay.
This has hit Nissan especially hard.
It's 1/5 of their sales coming from.
I mean, if 63% vehicles in China are domestic, then of course it's gonna be a really big competition, crazy competition to sell cars which are outside of China,
market that don't want to buy foreign cars,
True.
car brands anymore. So you are, let's say, quite exposed to it, and the response has been quite low, as it has been the case for Volkswagen, for the German premiums, and even Toyota, Hyundai. All of the ones operating in China are taking longer to respond to this shift in demand in China.
It doesn't help that Nissan has fallen behind its non-Chinese competitors in the electrification race as well. Just over half the cars sold in China are electric or hybrid. Nissan was once a leader in this space. The Leaf, first released in 2010, is often called the world's first fully electric mass-market vehicle, but it has received fewer updates than competitors. In some markets, such as the US, Nissan doesn't have a hybrid. It will introduce a Rogue plug-in hybrid to its US lineup in 2025, as well as a replacement for the Leaf EV.
They had the vision, let's go electric. But what they didn't have was that special sauce called making their products attractive, alluring, good-looking, something that would move the emotions. This is what Tesla nailed, and this is what more Chinese automakers are getting on.
While its share in China plummets, it's also increasingly confronted with Chinese cars in other markets, especially in emerging ones, such as Thailand, Indonesia, countries in the Middle East and Africa, and Latin America. Individually, many of these markets are small, but altogether they make up about a fifth of global car sales and about 16% of Nissan's. Some of the leading Chinese EV makers have a 30% cost advantage even without subsidies, and an ability to pump out new models in a year and a half, compared with more than 5 years for legacy automakers.
The population in these economies...
Yeah, like Chinese brands or many brands are bringing out new models almost every year, fast. But some of these Toyota, you can say, or Honda, or especially Nissan, you can say, they take some time, at least 3 to 4 years, to have a facelift or any kind of changes to, like a big changes to a car. They take some time, But most brands, what they are doing is every year crazy style, crazy look of a car inside and out. So of course people are gonna go with those rather than waiting so long for some normal looking kind of a car. So
most of it cannot afford brand new cars, especially now when prices of cars have been increasing over the last 5 years.
True.
China is becoming like a solution for these people.
Right.
That's where these brands, companies like Nissan, are feeling the impact.
Struggling.
Nissan's troubles in the US, its largest market, are entirely different. Many of its foreign rivals, including some fellow Japanese firms, are thriving here. The average US Nissan dealer is selling 400 fewer cars than it was 5 years ago. The average Mazda dealer is selling 266 more.
Man, I did not know that Mazda is way better or doing better in selling the cars than Nissan. Okay. Or Infinity. or Stellantis or JLR?
So it's not just a Japanese car maker thing. It's specific, I think, to Nissan. That some of the decisions they've made, the management choices they've made about the products they've produced, how they've interacted with their dealers, how they've interacted with consumers when there's a problem with the product, has led to this significant loss of market share in the U.S.
Take service, for example. Nissan sells a lot of cars with continuously variable transmissions, which have had some problems. Haig says the company has historically refused to pay to fix them if the car is out of warranty.
Oh.
They fix it if it's under warranty, but if it's not, they're saying, that's the consumer's problem. Well, it also becomes the dealer's problem, because the customer comes back and says, hey, my vehicle's got 36,001 miles and the transmission is out. What can you do for me? Dealer calls Nissan, asks for help, and they say, well, it's out of warranty. And so the customer is on his own to fix that vehicle. And that's, four-figure repair.
Toyota dealers, on the other hand, tell him that company has been better about issuing recalls and springing for repairs to preserve its reputation for quality, as it has done with its recent recall of 100,000 trucks and SUVs with potentially defective engines.
So the large majority of these motors are perfectly fine. But Toyota is saying, hey, we don't want there to be a perception of there being a problem.
Nissan also has instituted sales incentives that push dealers to sell cars aggressively, which is difficult to sustain over the long term and has a way of driving down resale values. It can also damage its reputation by creating resentful customers who had to shell out a lot more cash for a car than someone who shopped just a few weeks later.
True, I mean, if I go buy a new car and it goes out of warranty and it have the transmission problem or any kind of engine problem, and I go back and say, I just bought like this 2-3 weeks ago or a month ago, you can say, and it's having this issue, and company says, no, we cannot do anything to you, like you have to pay from your pocket to fix this 1 month old brand new car. Hell nah. Like, why should I pay? And if they say that, and even if I get it fixed from other mechanic, I would never go back to that same company, that same brand. Even I would tell other people that, oh bro, never buy Nissan, the issues happened, and they do this to you, they don't let you fix the issue, even if it's out of warranty or even it's their problem. So it can really, increase the number of customers not going to that brand and instead going to Toyota or Honda or, other brands like that.
Of course, Nissan is not the only automaker that refuses to fix cars out of warranty or the only one that introduces aggressive incentive programs.
The question is, how can I sell another car today, even if it costs me 2 sales tomorrow? Versus Toyota, which is, I care more about the 2 sales tomorrow, so I'm going to behave in a way that treats the customer and the dealer well today. And it's that difference in mindset that I think is the overall core reason why Nissan struggles compared to its peers.
Nissan's current position is reflected in the values of its dealerships. Toyota stores haven't fallen that much in value since the overall peak in 2023, whereas Nissan stores are a lot cheaper than the average. In fact, there might be a bigger difference between a Toyota and Nissan dealership than at any point Haig Partners has seen, according to its report. So, sales are depressed and products are stale. Meanwhile, Nissan faces intense competition from the Chinese, both in China and, increasingly, in emerging markets. In much of the rest of the world, it is being outrun by global rivals who themselves are facing increased Chinese competition.
At the end of the second quarter 2024, Nissan said it would slash global production by 20% and cut 9,000 jobs, about 7% of its workforce. CEO Makoto Uchida gave up 50% of his salary starting in November 2024.
Oh, wow.
Other executive committee members are expected to follow, though details are unclear.
It is also shuffling executives. CFO Stephen Ma will now oversee the China business. America's boss Jeremy Papan will become the new global CFO. Christian Mounier will take on the Americas. Nissan declined CNBC's request for an interview. It said in a statement, among other things, that reports the company only has 12 to 14 months to survive are based on speculation and not on any announcement by the company. We continue to maintain strong levels of liquidity and are progressing with investments in new products and technologies. Perhaps the biggest news is its possible merger with Honda. This would create the world's third largest automaker, with U.S. market share comparable to that of Toyota and the Hyundai Motor Group. It would also provide an opportunity to share parts and research and development costs.
We hope that they will merge with Honda, or perhaps Mazda, but more likely Honda, where together they would have comparable market share to Toyota or the Korean brands. I think that both brands would do better in the U.S. marketplace and also be better positioned to survive against the Chinese, which is a major concern for all these OEMs outside of the U.S. I don't see the Chinese brands coming into the U.S. for quite a while, but in other markets they're there, and it's going to be hard to get them out.
What we used to see in the past, that the Western car makers went there and they taught the Chinese how to make cars. Now is the opposite.
Nissan does have some potential advantages. In a market where high prices are driving away consumers, the fact that Nissan has 6 models starting under $30,000 can attract customers alienated by still relatively high vehicle prices. It will need every tool it has.
Crisis 2025 we're gonna see one of the most serious crises since the last one we had in 2011, 2012.
We've been here before with Nissan, and I believe that the strength of Infiniti and Nissan are sufficient to survive this, particularly if they can get a partner.
It's their kind of own fault that this thing is not working out, you know, that Nissan is fighting to survive, bruh. It's like, it's their own problem. They made this a problem by themselves. First of all, their CEO did all kind of shady stuff and had to get out of on bail for $4.5 million, and which also impacted Nissan. Then they got new CEOs and all that. Then their quality is not as good as compared to Toyota or Honda. Then the dealership problem, that's the biggest, I think so, because people usually go to buy new cars at dealership in person, you know. So when you go there, buy all that, fine, after a few months, any kind of problem with engine or anything like that, they won't fix it. They want you to pay for it to fix it, okay, which can be a problem, or like which is obviously not a fair thing, you know, because just buying a brand new car and after a few months it's gone bad, engine gone bad or something like that, nah, I ain't paying for that, bruh. And they want you to do that, which can cause a huge trouble for customers, you know, for not coming again, or you know, not having that much trust in that brand anymore. And then of course they will go to the other brands like Mazda, Honda and Toyota, which they are doing way better than Nissan at this point. So this is a kind of a Nissan problem, not a Japanese problem, or not a Japanese cars problem, okay. So yeah, let's see. They did merge with Honda a few weeks ago, I know about that, and let's see how Honda and Nissan come up, especially Nissan come out of this problem for just whole company dying, bruh, which is not good. But yeah, let's see how they make new crazy vehicles to compete with Chinese electric vehicles, especially, you can say. But yeah, overall very nice video about Nissan, and it was really nice thing as I see the comment on this video that the CEO cut his own 50% salary to go and at least help the company, rather than just keeping his pockets full. That was really nice to see the new CEO. I cannot remember the name, but they do got a new CEO, and they got many other CEO, or you can say a more kind of like a manager for each countries to focus on, like America, Japan, China. They got different people so they can have proper look at this problem and properly sell their vehicles, you know. But yeah, overall this was the video on Nissan and how they're fighting to survive by CNBC, and I'll see you guys in the next one.